Hey guys, this is Cubing Dylan. Today I'll be teaching you how to solve the 3x3 Rubik's Cube. If you haven't already watched my 3x3 Rubik's Cube notation tutorial, you need to watch that video first. It's the first link in the description. Now that you know notation, you can learn how to solve the cube. First, I'm going to teach you what all the pieces are called. So these are centerpieces. They have one color on them and they cannot switch with other centerpieces. They are fixed together. These are edge pieces. They have two stickers on them and they can switch with other edge pieces. These are corner pieces. They have three stickers on them and they can also switch with other corner pieces. Edge and corner pieces cannot swap. The first step in solving the cube is making this daisy formation. So that's the yellow center in the middle with four white edges around it like that. You can do this by finding a white edge and the yellow center and matching it up with where it has to go and then just turning it up. And then we have one on the bottom right there, so we can put it under a spot where there isn't a white edge and then just turn it 2 times. Now we have this one, which is not on the side or on the bottom, it's on the front, and you can't just kind of like turn it up into it because it would be on the side. So what you can do is put it here and then turn it so it can line up, and then you can put it up and then put this back because you put it down. And if the white edge is on the top but it's kind of like twisted, then you can just bring it down 1 time and then turn this side like that so it can match up and then just turn it to the top. So once you've made the daisy, now you want to turn these bottom 2 layers until this edge piece matches up with its center. So those match up, so when they match up, you're going to turn it 2 times so it goes to the bottom. And then move on to the next edge. So those match up, so put it to the bottom. And then this one, they match up, put it on the bottom. And then those match up, so put them on the bottom. So if you flip the cube over, now you have this sort of white cross with the edges and centers aligned like that. So you can do this by finding a white corner. Let's start with this one. This also has blue and orange on it. So let's turn it until we find the blue and orange centers. They're right there. So put this corner right in between those center pieces and then keep doing this algorithm until it's in its spot. D prime, R prime, D, R. D prime, R prime, D, R. D prime, R prime, D, R, D prime, R prime, D, R, D prime, R prime, D, R. So now it's in its spot. So now let's look for other white corners. So we have one right here, so we can turn it, it's green and red, so we have the red and green centers right here. So do the algorithm, D prime, R prime, D, R, 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 and now it's solved. So let's look for another white corner piece. We have one right here. It's red and blue is already right here, so we don't have to move it to its spot. So now we'll do the algorithm, D prime, R prime, D, R, 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 and now it's solved. So the last white corner piece is right here, and it's also right in its spot with green and orange, green and orange. So do the algorithm, D prime, R prime, D, R. So for that one, you only have to do the algorithm 1 time. Sometimes you only have to do it once, sometimes you have to do it more than once. So yeah. Sometimes the white corner will be on the top, but it's kind of like twisted and it's not perfectly solved. So you can just do the algorithm 1 time, D prime, R prime, D, R, and now it's on the bottom, match it up with its centers, D prime, R prime, D, R, and then it's solved. Also, the white corner piece might be on the bottom, see the bottom of the rest of the white. So the way that you can put this in one of these spots is by doing the algorithm, D prime, R prime, D, R, and now it's on the top, so I just taught you that. So now you can do it again, D prime, R prime, D, R. Now it's on the bottom where you can do it, match it up with its centers, D prime, R prime, D, R, and then it's solved. Now that these 4 corners are solved, we need to solve these 4 edges to solve the entire first 2 layers. So let's flip the cube over and try to find an edge piece that is on the top and does not have yellow in it. So this one has yellow in it, it's blue and yellow, so we cannot use that one. This one does not have yellow, it's orange and blue, so we can use this one. So let's just turn it until it matches up with its center. Here it goes, matches up. That would not match up. It's the same two colors, but it does not match up. See, the orange is on the top, so we can match it up like that. So the spot where it needs to go is to the left of the piece that needs to go there. So since the spot is to the left, we do this algorithm. U prime, L prime, U, L, U, F, U prime, F prime, and now it's in its spot. Now let's do this edge piece, so it does not have yellow in it, so we can use it, match it up with its center. Now this time the spot where it needs to go is to the right of that piece that needs to go there, so when it's to the right, you do this algorithm. U, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, F prime, U, F, and now it's in its spot. So now as you can see, all these top edges are yellow, so we can't use any that are on the top, and the last two edges that do not have yellow in it are in these spots, but are in the wrong spots. They're not solved. So a way we can do this is by putting one in this spot and doing one of the algorithms. Let's just do this one. So now we swapped it with an edge that has yellow in it, so now we can use this edge piece that does not have yellow in it. It's red and blue, so we can match it up. It's going to the left, so we can do the algorithm. And then now that piece was there is now out, so we can match it up with its center. It's going to the right, so we do this algorithm. And now all four edges are solved, and we have these first two layers solved. The next step in solving the cube is solving this yellow cross. So the way we want to do this is ignore the corner pieces, and there are two cases you need to remember. The first one is this one, where there's a line going through it. Remember, ignore the corners, so there's just a line going through it with two solved pieces and two unsolved pieces. Another case that there is this one, where it's kind of like this L shape. Remember, ignore the corners, a little L kind of shape. So you need to remember the L and the line. So when there's a line going straight through it, you need to do this algorithm with the line going from left to right like that. F, R, U, R prime, U prime, F prime. When you have the L shape, you're going to want to put it in the back left corner like this and do this algorithm. F, U, R, U prime, R prime, F prime. So now we have the yellow cross solved. One thing I forgot to mention while I was filming the video is there is this one case where there are no edges solved at all, and it's just like a dot in the middle with maybe some corners solved. And if you get this case, just do one of the two algorithms I just taught you, and then you'll have a case that you know. Now that we have the yellow cross solved, we need to solve these four yellow corners. The way you want to do this is try to find a yellow corner piece that is on the top right, like this one, but we can't use this one because it has another one on the other side. So try to find one that is on the top right like this, but does not have another yellow corner right there, so we can use this one. So when you find one, put it in this spot and do this algorithm. R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime. And now you should have this like fish kind of shape. So when you get the fish, put it so it's aiming on the bottom left like this, and do the same algorithm. R, U, R prime, U, R, U2, R prime, and now you have the yellow side solved. Now sometimes it'll take 2 times to do it, so if you make it aim at the bottom left, do the algorithm, and there's still a fish, then you could just put it at the bottom left, do it again, and then the yellow side will be solved. Now that we have the yellow side solved, we need to solve this entire layer. So try to find 2 corner pieces that are the same. So we have these two, those are not, and those are not. So these are, so we're going to put 2 corner pieces that are the same on the left and do this algorithm. R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, F, R2, U prime, R prime, U prime, R, U, R prime, F prime. And now we have all these corners solved. Now say there are no corners solved at all and it looks something like this. Then you do the algorithm, RU R prime U prime R prime F, R2 U prime R prime U prime R, U R prime F prime, and now you will have two solved corners. Put them on the left, do the algorithm, RU R prime U prime R prime F, R2 U prime R prime U prime R, U R prime F prime. Now that you have these corners solved, now you need to solve these for edges. So there's one case that is pretty common where there are 3 unsolved edges and then there's 1 solved edge like this. So there are 2 different cases for this. There's one where, see, this one has to go here and this one has to go here and this one has to go here. So it's going to the right. But then there's another one where this piece has to go here, this piece has to go here, and this piece has to go here. So it's going to the left. So when it's going to the left, you do this algorithm. R2, U, R, U, R prime, U prime, R prime, U prime, R prime, U, R prime. Now when it's going to the left, you do this algorithm. R, U prime, R, U, R, U, R, U prime, R prime, U prime, R2. There's also this case where these 2 need to swap and these 2 need to swap. So when you get this case, you can do one of the 2 algorithms I just taught you. So we'll do this one. And now you have the case where 1 edge is solved and 3 are not. So this is going to the left. So you do this algorithm where it goes to the left. And the cube is solved. Now there's another case where these 2 need to swap and these 2 need to swap. So you could hold it however you want and do one of the 2 algorithms. And now you have the case where 1 is solved, 3 are not. This is going to the left, so you do the one when it's going to the left. And the cube is solved. Congratulations, you just learned how to solve the Rubik's Cube. If you have any questions or concerns, please comment them down below because I really want to help you guys. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell to be notified whenever I upload a new fun cubing video. Also be sure to follow my Instagram @CubingDylan. Thank you guys so much for watching, guys. Bye.